This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
New AI models everywhere. That is the name of the game this week when it comes to AI news. The big companies are releasing some big updates, some probably coming as soon as today, others probably coming within the next week or two. So Elon Musk says that xAI's Grok 3 is being released tonight. OpenAI has laid out the plans for GPT-5 and more. And new reports are saying that Claude's highly anticipated new model, so the new model from Anthropic, will be a hybrid model. So we're going to be talking about what those stories mean and a whole lot more today on Everyday AI. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host of Everyday AI. I do this thing for you. This is your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter, helping us all try to keep up with AI news, but actually put it into use to grow our company and our careers. That's what this show is all about. So maybe this is your very first time tuning in. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, please check out youreverydayai.com. That is our website, but that is your new BFF in AI. So there you can go sign up for our daily newsletter. In our daily newsletter, we not only recap each podcast and live stream each and every weekday, but we also give you every other piece of AI news and development that you need to be the smartest person in AI at your company. So that's where you go do that, all for free. Hundreds of back episodes as well. So youreverydayai.com. All right. So enough. Well, one other thing you got to do when you're there, go check out our 2025 AI predictions and roadmap series. Y'all, like, you have to. It's wild, right? So played these a month ago, and so many of the things that I talked about, which at the time seemed a little weird, have already come to fruition. So go check those out on our website, episodes 443 through 447. All right, let's get into it. So almost every single Monday, we bring you the AI news that matters. So what that is, well, every single day we do this. And then on Mondays, that's kind of our guide to help you start the week off right, so you can walk into the workplace knowing exactly what's happening in the world of AI and how it will impact you. So, we cut through the fluff, cut through the PR, and hopefully just bring you the realist on what actually matters. All right. Let's get into it. And hey, thank you, live stream audience, for tuning in. Big Bogey Face, Sandra, and Dr. Harvey joining on YouTube. Douglas, Alan, Brian, Woozy, Graham, lots of faces in the house. Max joining from Chicago, holding it down like me. Parimi, Pedro, everyone else, thank you for joining. Appreciate y'all tuning in. So OpenAI is not for sale, regardless of what Elon Musk is trying to say. So Elon Musk's bid to acquire OpenAI has been officially rejected amid the ongoing feud with the old company that he helped co-found. So OpenAI's board has unanimously rejected a $97.4 billion acquisition bid from a group led by Elon Musk, reinforcing its commitment to remain independent and focus on its new nonprofit status. So the rejection was made public through a statement on X, a social media platform obviously owned by Musk, emphasizing that OpenAI is not for sale and aims to ensure that artificial general intelligence, or AGI, benefits all of humanity. So CEO Sam Altman humorously responded to Musk's takeover bid by attempting to instead buy Twitter, or X, for $9.74 billion, which I think would be overpaying for it. I know Musk bought it for like $44 billion, but most estimates say it's worth like 10 now. So it's just kind of highlighting this ongoing tensions between Musk, a co-founder of OpenAI, and the current OpenAI leadership, namely CEO Sam Altman. So Musk has a long-standing feud with OpenAI's leadership, accusing them of straying from their nonprofit ideals, and is currently involved in a legal action to prevent the company from becoming for profit. OpenAI's attorney dismissed Musk's offer as a not serious bid, further underscoring the board's unanimous decision to reject it. Y'all, can we just be honest? Most of what Elon Musk does in the AI space, it's for engagement. It's for theater. It's to drive a narrative, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people believe this, right? Which is sad, right? Spoke to a group of CEOs actually on Friday, helping them, doing a keynote for them in a workshop. And one of their hesitations in rolling out OpenAI was, well, they weren't sure on what was going to happen with this whole, Elon Musk and OpenAI takeover, right? So, people that don't follow this every single day, like me, probably didn't realize that this wasn't a serious, it wasn't serious from Elon Musk. What he's trying to do is he's trying to essentially drive up a fair market value price for OpenAI that they'll have to deal with when it comes to their transition from a for-profit to a nonprofit, right? Also, I don't know. It's kind of funny coming from Elon Musk, that he said when he released Grok, I think Grok 2, that he was going to open source Grok 1, said the same thing, when we release Grok 3, he's going to open source Grok 2, right? So his big thing, at least, on paper, and by on paper, I mean on mean tweets, is saying that, OpenAI is no longer its, nonprofit mission and no longer, open source, right? Like but that was never the case, right? And there's been so many emails and lawsuits floating around. But this is, it was more or less, I think, if I'm being honest, what I think this was all about was to drum up conversation, specifically for releasing Grok, right? Because that is our next AI news story. So Elon Musk's Grok 3 is set to launch tonight, at least according to Elon. So Elon Musk's XAI group is preparing to launch Grok 3, which is being described as the smartest AI on Earth tonight. So yeah, Monday, February 7th. So this new AI model is expected to surpass its competitors by offering enhanced reasoning capabilities, faster computation speeds, and a groundbreaking approach to learning. Grok 3 has been trained on XAI's Colossus supercomputer, which uses an impressive 100,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. So yeah, it is the largest kind of AI supercenter that's up and running right now in the world. Impressive and hats off to XAI and Elon and the team for getting that set up so quickly. So that setup provides 10 times the computing power to train Grok versus its predecessor. So the AI reportedly employs synthetic data sets to simulate a wide range of real-world scenarios. So this approach helps in, on paper, reducing bias and enhancing the system's adaptability. Grok 3 reportedly features self-correction mechanisms that allow it to refine errors in real time and maintain logical consistency. Elon Musk's goal to redefine AI development is positioning XAI as a significant contender against established players like Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. A recent $6 billion funding round has attracted major investors such as NVIDIA and AMD, providing XAI with a somewhat of a competitive edge in the market. At least, there's very few companies that have raised $6 billion plus. I'm curious, live stream audience, are you going to be using Grok? My hot take, right, and this is judging by the original Grok and Grok 2, I would never use it, not for a real business use case. I would never tell a business or advise a business to use it either. We'll see if Grok 3 changes that. One of the main reasons is that, unfortunately, Twitter/X has been a main source of its training data, which is not good, right? And you might say, oh, Jordan, well, Llama uses Facebook data and Instagram data. And it's like, yes, it does, but not as one of its main training sources. So, kind of one of the biggest USPs for Grok has been its real-time integration with X data, right? And I've done plenty of videos on this channel. It actually does worse of a job at connecting in real time to X than other large language models do. So it's kind of, or at least than other large language models do in connecting to real-time data, right? So you would think, oh, if I could use Grok, I can know up to the minute information, and it often doesn't work like that. So, I mean, we'll see. I would love to be proved wrong. I do think if I had to give predictions, I think that Grok will bench very, very well. I think it could be a, maybe top 3 or number 1 model in terms of ELO scores on the LM arena. But I really don't think that we're going to see widespread adoption, especially here in the US, for that very reason, right? You have to have a high level, or at least some level of trust and security in how models were trained. And if a large portion of Grok 3, at least, is trained off of real-time Twitter and X data, that's not something most companies are even going to stick their toe in. But people on Twitter are going to yell at me for this because they love Elon and everything he does. And they say everything he touches is gold. But, again, I don't think most serious businesses will use Grok for the most part. Joe here on LinkedIn says, I won't touch Grok, just like I won't touch DeepSeek. I will say from a data and privacy perspective, I will say Grok should be safe, right? It should be safe to use because it's based here in the US. So, we have our nice data and privacy laws protecting us. But yeah, I still don't think we're going to see much widespread use of Grok, right? It'll probably explode on Twitter. Like I said, it's probably going to do a great job, some different benchmarks, but I think that's probably where it will end. All right. Speaking of things that I wish were a little better, tech giants, Apple and Amazon are facing some major AI-powered delays in their voice assistants. So yeah, seems like Alexa and Siri might not be getting very AI smart anytime soon. So Apple and Amazon are both experiencing significant delays in launching their new and improved AI-enhanced voice assistants, primarily due to software glitches and inaccurate responses during internal testing. So that is according to Bloomberg. Apple's revamped Siri, initially planned for release in April, may be postponed until May or later due to persistent software bugs and engineering issues. Apple's major Siri enhancements are supposed to include improved user data access, app control, and screen context understanding, are not consistently performing as expected. Similarly, the Washington Post reports that Amazon is delaying the release of its large language model powered Alexa, initially launched as a limited demo in 2023 due to incorrect responses found during testing. Amazon plans to announce the Alexa update on February 26th, but public access is not expected until at least March 31st. So the new version of Alexa will offer premium features like personality customization, call reminders, and service ordering capabilities, although some features are already available in the current free version. Apple is considering various launch strategies for its new and improved Siri, including adding new features in April's update, but disabling them by default until the iOS 18.5 update in May. A fully LLM-powered Siri capable of human-like conversations is not expected until next year. Why? I don't know how many times I got a bellyache about this. We've had very great AI voice assistants from OpenAI and from Google for many months. All right. So yes, Google is a giant tech conglomerate, but we've had extremely impressive options now dating back to the latter part of 2024. And reportedly, Amazon and Siri have been working on this for many years, reportedly many millions of dollars. I don't understand. I don't understand how I still can't ask Siri or Alexa for absolutely anything other than the time and the weather, which is like exactly what I used it for 10 years ago, right? I don't understand. I literally don't understand. And, I've been lucky enough to talk to people that have been very involved in its development, and I still don't understand how Apple and Amazon have dropped the ball so hard, right? Because I do think that we're going to see, especially with some new advancements from OpenAI and from Google, I think those are going to catch on very mainstream, right? I think, first of all, I mean, you have to tip your cap to Amazon and Apple for having this technology, 10 years ago? At the time, it did feel nice. It felt advanced. Now it's obviously very stale and frustrating to use. But now I just, on my new iPhone, I just programmed, the side button to automatically launch ChatGPT voice search, right? So now it's like, at least on my phone, I don't know if I'll ever use Siri, right? As long as I can touch one button, I'm instantly chatting with ChatGPT, which is seemingly 100 times smarter and 100 times more useful than Siri. I don't think Siri can really do anything right now, which is a little disappointing. But hey, hopefully that'll change. Hopefully that'll change. All right. Next piece of AI news. Perplexity has released its version of deep research to compete with OpenAI and Google. So Perplexity AI has launched its version of deep research, a new mode designed to provide extensive research capabilities in minutes, making it newsworthy for its potential to transform how users conduct complex research tasks. So the big, I think, news here is it's free, right? So users with free accounts can make up to 5 queries per day, while pro users essentially have unlimited use of it. You can, I guess you're capped at 500 deep research queries a day, but like, I'm doing the math, right? Because they take 2 to 5 minutes. That'd be very hard to actually hit 500 of these deep research queries a day. So yes, users with a free Perplexity account can do up to 5. And essentially, if you're a paid Perplexity Pro user like I am, you have unlimited access to this feature. So the feature is adept at handling expert level queries in fields like finance, marketing, and product research, offering detailed responses quickly. Deep research has shown strong performance, scoring a 21% on humanities last exam, a new kind of AI benchmark for large language models. So the company is expanding its reach by planning to offer DeepSeek research also on iOS, Android, and Mac platforms, and it is currently live and available on the web. So despite facing legal challenges from media organizations over copyright issues, Perplexity AI is not only just rolling this out and still, it looks like it, using some of these even same sources that they're facing some legal challenges against, but also they're currently negotiating revenue sharing agreements with publishers like Time and Fortune, according to reports.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
So yeah, great comment here from Max on LinkedIn. So saying that you can use DeepSeek R1 through Perplexity too. Yeah, so it's a little confusing because they've had essentially a reasoning search where you could tap into either DeepSeek's R1 or OpenAI's O3. So they did have this it was like almost like a research, like a deep research light version, because they had essentially a reasoning search already available. And it is a little confusing. So actually what we have going tomorrow, we are doing a deep research, Perplexity deep research episode. So we're going to be talking about what it is and if you should use it. All right. And then, yeah, back to back, because I think this new deep research category, it is going to be huge, right? And I think one of the reasons being, there was a lot of initial, which makes sense, right? But there was a lot of initial hesitation for companies to use large language models because they thought, okay, all this means is our employees are going to be copying and pasting, right? They're going to just copy and paste things from these large language models, which is often bad, right? Because large language models, at least like 2 years ago, unless you were using ChatGPT, which had good access to the web via browse with Bing, Google Gemini really struggled to use Google, right? Microsoft Copilot did a good job at accessing Bing. But for the most part, you run into a lot of issues that people were just lazily not really trying to understand how these AI models worked. They would just copy and paste things from a large language model. And oftentimes that's just using its internal training, its internal data set, which, people always look at the cutoff date, right? Like as an example, the cutoff date for GPT-4o right now is June 2024. And they're like, oh, all the information out of here is from June 2024. No, it's not, right? So much of what makes it into these large language models can be many years old, which makes sometimes the outputs kind of dangerous to use, especially for novice users who don't know what they're doing, which is why I think the deep research boon is going to be huge, right? Because essentially what this does is it ensures a higher accuracy rate, because these both from Perplexity, OpenAI, and Google, it really goes and it sometimes researches dozens or hundreds of websites, and then it kind of relies on the underlying model. So I do think this is going to be a sweeping new category of tools, and it is going to be kind of like a second Ripple, right? So we kind of saw the ChatGPT moment of November 2022, which really brought generative AI into the mainstream. I do think for those companies that have not widely adopted generative AI yet, I do think this is going to be kind of the second, I won't say wave, but this is going to be a second Ripple, right? Most companies, they don't care about AI images. Most companies don't care about AI video, but they are going to care about this, right? So that's why we're actually doing back-to-back episodes. So tomorrow, we're going to be going over, tomorrow, Tuesday, February 18th, we're going to be going over Perplexity deep research. And then the next day, so Wednesday, in 2 days from right now, we're going to be doing a deep research throwdown. We're going to be comparing Perplexity, Google, and OpenAI's versions of deep research. I'm excited about this episode. I'm a geek, y'all. I spent my weekend doing this. Making charts and testing things, right? Like, this is what we do. I spend hours at night and on the weekends testing all of these things so you don't have to. And I share my results and I give it to you straight, right? I'm not going to lie to you on, oh, this one's great, this one's garbage, right? So make sure you join us for those episodes. All right, our next piece of AI news. The world's most powerful AI video tool is now publicly available, but not in the way that you would think. So YouTube has upgraded its Dream Screen feature with Google's new VO2 AI model, enabling faster and higher quality AI generated backgrounds and standalone clips for YouTube Shorts. So yeah, the VO2 access was extremely limited, right? It still is not generally available, but you can now use it in very limited fashions, right? So if you're working on a YouTube short in the Dream Screen feature, then you can use it. So the integration of VO2 allows for quicker generation of AI videos and images, supporting a wider range of subjects with more detailed visual output. New capabilities include the creation of standalone video clips in addition to AI-driven backgrounds, offering creators more versatility in content production. It's not available to everyone yet, but the initial rollout of this feature does cover users in the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, with plans for future expansion to other regions. So users can access Dream Screen by selecting the Shorts camera within the YouTube app. Okay, so open the YouTube app, go to the Shorts camera, then you can access the Dream Screen powered by VO2 by tapping the green screen option and entering a text prompt to generate AI backgrounds or standalone clips. Google is trying to ensure a little bit more AI transparency by applying their Synth ID watermark and to create clear labels that it is AI generated media. So, not exactly the rollout of Google's VO2 that a lot of people were hoping for, but anyone that wants to at least go test it out to see if, especially I think for, creative companies, visual companies, or any marketing department, really, I think you should at least be testing this out. You should be looking at it. So when and if we get VO2 access, right? VO1 was never publicly made available. VO2 still not publicly made available. If you had good timing on their Discord server, you probably got early access to it, but most people do not have access to it just yet. All right, let's get to some OpenAI updates. So OpenAI CEO Sam Altman announced on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it, that they have released an updated version of their GPT-4o model. So this normally isn't very big news, right? Because OpenAI and other, AI companies do release kind of under the hood updates. So what that means is they'll release updates to a model without necessarily renaming it, right? So this isn't a GPT 4.5 or anything like that. So it is still called GPT-4o. However, it is extremely more impressive, right? I don't know if anyone else has been using it over the last 2 days, but no real updates on what's included, which is bonkers. All right. So, hey, AI companies, sometimes you do a great job at this. Sometimes you fail, right? So OpenAI released this out, no change log, no model notes, absolutely nothing, right? So why is that problematic? Well, when companies roll out updates to models, especially on the API, right? So you might be running a huge part of your software off of GPT-4o or GPT-4o mini as an example. So if there's not detailed updates on what was changed, you essentially just have to do a bunch of engineering over again to try to figure it out on your own. So I'm sure there's thousands of companies right now and grumpy developers that are waking up Monday morning and being like, oh, they're getting tickets on saying, hey, our system isn't working correctly. We're not getting ideal customer support, right? Whatever you're using the GPT-4o model for, it could be going much better or much worse, right? So kind of disappointing that OpenAI doesn't release a little bit more details, but what I've seen and what other people have talked about, a better personality, a better writing style, less censored, and just better benchmarks, right? Let's check this out. So looking at the LM Arena chatbot leaderboard, the GPT-4o model is back in a three-way tie for first. So if you don't know what the LM chatbot arena is, essentially you go in, you put a prompt, you get 2 responses. You don't know what company it is. You vote on which one's better. So it's essentially like a blind taste test, right? Like the Pepsi versus Coke marketing campaign of the 90s, right? And then the winner gets a score, right? So you have this thing called an ELO score, and then there's kind of a margin of error. So what that means is that technically GPT-4o is in a tie for the top ranking with Gemini 2.0 Pro, the new version that just came out, and Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. Both of those were just released in the last couple of weeks. So one other thing, kind of some unique reporting here from us. Looks like OpenAI is taking even more shots at Google. Some original reporting here. I didn't see this anywhere. I didn't know if this was a mistake that, showed up over the weekend. On the weekends is normally where I do a lot of my LLM testing, because during the week I'm busy bringing you guys a daily live stream podcast and newsletter. And I noticed that I'm like, what is this? Is this OpenAI is showing an autocomplete suggestions? Yes, they are. So interesting here, a very Google-esque, right? So when you go into Google search and you start typing something and you see all of these suggestions, right? It's actually very helpful in Google search. I don't know how helpful it will be in ChatGPT, but this is a new feature. I didn't see literally anyone else in the world, because I was Googling it. I was using AI search engines to look for it, looking on Twitter. I couldn't find anything. So it could be a feature that is slowly rolling out, but essentially when you start to type a query, you may get autocomplete suggestions. So a couple new things from OpenAI. But speaking of it, the big news, I think probably the biggest piece of news this week is Sam Altman announced on Twitter their upcoming essentially roadmap and releases for models, which is something that they generally don't do a lot. Kind of the OpenAI playbook over the last year has been kind of these just teasing online, right? Like they drop these little hints. It's almost like little Easter eggs, and then they build up a ton of hype, and then either they're going to announce something out of nowhere, or like they did in December, they had the 12 days of OpenAI, ship miss. But this one is interesting because actually a much higher level of transparency here from Sam Altman, and really just talking openly about some of the challenges that they're facing and some of their plans. But the biggest thing is announcing the upcoming release of GPT-4.5 and GPT-5. So they are aiming to simplify the company's complex product offerings. So Altman described GPT-5, which is known internally as Orion, as the final non-chain of thought models. Okay. So this is marking a shift toward a unified AI system. So even after this tweet announcement and all the press coverage, there's still some things that are a little vague. There's still some gray areas. So just keep that in mind. And, we'll link to that tweet thread in our newsletter today if you want to read it. But essentially, he said that GPT-5 is going to be more of a system, and it's going to integrate different reasoning models into a cohesive system. So the free tier of ChatGPT in the future will have unlimited access to GPT-5, while paid subscribers will get higher intelligence levels, and then pro subscribers, which are those paying $200 a month, will get the highest. So it looks like essentially GPT-5 will not be a traditional GPT model, because GPT 4.5 is going to be the last of the non-reasoning models. So that is the standard transformer model. So it looks like GPT-5 will still have maybe it's just an updated version of GPT 4.5. I'm not sure, but essentially it's going to have some sort of GPT-5 is going to be more of a system that is going to recognize if it needs to use a transformer type model to answer your query, or if it's going to use a reasoning model, and then at what level it is going to give it to you as well. Because as an example, right now, right, I have a pro plan. So I have access to GPT 4.0, GPT 4.0 mini, O1 normal, O1 pro, O3 mini, O3 mini high, right? It's confusing. And then you have all the tools, right? You have Canvas, you have tasks, you have operator, you have deep research, right? So it looks like GPT-5 is going to be more of a system, and it will essentially have use of all the tools and all of the models. And so it's not going to be going into this, pick your model, choose your tool. It looks like GPT-5 will be a system, and will use a combination probably of a transformer type model and a O series or a reasoner model, but doing it all under the hood. So Altman indicated that these releases are expected within weeks or months, All right. So, that could be 6 months, who knows, or it could be as soon as a couple of weeks. So they're aiming to streamline the user experience by eliminating that current model picker. And OpenAI has been very transparent that they kind of stink at naming models, right? Yeah. Like O3 Mini, O3 Mini High, O1, O1 Pro, GPT-4o, GPT-4o Mini, right? It's so confusing. It's so confusing. So despite delays and reports of increased costs, Altman dismissed claims that AI progress has stalled, maintaining optimism about OpenAI's advancements. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Denny here is saying, when is OpenAI going to hire a marketing person to help name its models? Well, it looks like this new GPT-5 system approach, there might not even be any model names. Who knows? I mean, we'll see. I'll save most of my judgment for when this comes out. I'm obviously a power user, right? I think one of the problems maybe is, I'm guessing 99% of the population is not a power user like me, right? I generally use large language models. Depends on the day. I'd say anywhere from nowadays 3 to 10 hours a day, right? So let's say I average using large language models for like 5 or 6 hours. That's a ton of time. I have no problem right now with the current feature sets of OpenAI or any other tool, but I do assume the overwhelming majority of users can get quite confused. And that probably keeps people maybe from paying a paid subscription or upgrading to a higher tier because they're just confused. They're like, I don't know what any of these things are, let alone if I need them, right? But we have seen a huge push from OpenAI. And y'all, this is in response, I think, to Google. People are like, oh, DeepSeek came out with this amazing model. No, go look at DeepSeek now. It's banned in so many countries. US businesses, I think, aren't going to be adopting it at a high level, right? Let's just be honest, right? There's legislation out there that would fine companies for using it. I don't think that version of the bill is actually ever going to make it into actual legislation. But, DeepSeek had its moment for like a week. And now it's no longer the cheapest model in terms of, price per quality. It's not even close, right? So I do think OpenAI did this in response to Google. Right? That's who they're going after, y'all. Look at everything they did. They made ChatGPT search free. You don't even have to be logged in. They made their biggest model or one of their more powerful models in O3 Mini free for limited use cases, even for free users, right? People are like, oh, this is in response to, no, it's not. It's not in response to DeepSeek. People, I don't know. I just don't think people like to use their brains. OpenAI is going after Google. And Google went bonkers in December, and they continue to go bonkers, all the way through February. They're very silent for a long time, right? But Google came out straight up swinging. So I personally think that, and yeah, I talk to people off the record, at OpenAI and at Google, but this is my personal thoughts. I think all of this is in response to Google, right? Even Sam Altman, on Super Bowl Sunday, there was a tweet, or maybe it was the Saturday before, looking at the top websites in the world. And OpenAI had actually the biggest growth of any of those. I think it was a list of the top 7. And his response was, have a long way to go to catch Google, because Google was obviously number 1. That's who they're after. They're not after. They don't care about DeepSeek. I don't think they necessarily care even about, Claude, right? Even though that's probably on paper their closest competitor. They are going after billions of users. All right. That's what they're going after. All right. Speaking of some of their closest competitors and new models, so Anthropic Claude is set to launch a new hybrid model in weeks. So Anthropic is preparing to release its next major AI model, which is expected to arrive within weeks, according to reporting by The Information. So the new model is described as a hybrid capable of switching between deep reasoning and fast responses, offering flexibility for various applications. So a sliding scale will be introduced for developers, allowing them to manage costs associated with the model's deep reasoning capabilities. So according to the report, Anthropic's soon-to-be-released new model outperforms OpenAI's O3 Mini High reasoning model in specific programming tasks and excels at analyzing large code bases. So, CEO Dario Amodi expressed the company's focus on creating differentiated reasoning models, questioning the distinction between normal and reasoning models. So, this development highlights Anthropic's commitment to advancing AI technology and could significantly impact businesses relying on AI for complex problem solving. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what actually happens here, and I'd be very interested on the timing, right? So I don't know. We might see a GPT 4.5 release right after we get this new model from Anthropic, because it's been I don't know. I lost track. It's been like 9 or 10 months since we've seen an update from Anthropic, which in like AI and large language model terms is like decades, right? Claude's, they did update kind of Sonnet 3.5, Claude Sonnet 3.5, but they still just called it Claude Sonnet 3.5. So was it really an update, right? Or is it what just, OpenAI did over the weekend with GPT 4.0? But Claude 3.5 Sonnet still does remain extremely popular for developers and for coders, right? So even though we don't talk about it a ton on the show, that's because right now, I don't think there is a ton of general business use cases outside of just development for Claude 3.5 Sonnet. I think in almost everything else, you should be probably looking at or using Google Gemini models or OpenAI models, or obviously Microsoft Copilot is powered by OpenAI's model. So for the most part, I don't see a ton of use cases. And one of those reasons is, well, Claude has been offline this whole time, right? So there's been reports that Claude will have some internet connectivity, maybe alongside these reasoning models. Maybe it'll be a different release, but that's one of the reasons I've been saying all along, companies shouldn't be using Claude, right? Unless you're using it on the back end. But, for front end users, which is a lot of times what I'm talking about on this show, right? If you have a ChatGPT enterprise account, or if you have Google Gemini across your workspace, or maybe you have Microsoft 365 Copilot, those are all connected to real-time information on the internet, right? Claude is not on the front end. So if you're using Claude.ai, if you have a Teams account, whatever, you could be working with extremely old information, which makes the outputs unreliable, period. So I am excited to see what Anthropic releases next. And I hope this new hybrid model includes the ability for it to have real-time information from the internet. All right, more tech giants in the fold this week. So we have Apple and Meta reportedly competing in the AI-powered humanoid robotics field. So Apple and Meta are entering a new territory for their rivalry, focusing on AI-powered humanoid robots, according to a report from Bloomberg. So the competition between these two tech giants is significant, as it could really change the way that everyday tasks are automated in homes, impacting industries and consumer lifestyles. So, according to reports, Meta is adopting a software-first strategy, creating a new unit within its Reality Labs division to develop a foundational software platform for humanoid robots, similar to Android for robots. So, the company aims to leverage its expertise in sensors, computing, and AI, including its Llama AI models, to gain a competitive edge. Meta has started hiring engineers to support its vision of helping other companies bring humanoid robots to market in the coming years. Apple, on the other hand, is focusing on seamless hardware and software integration, developing a tabletop device with a robotic arm that could either be extremely weird or extremely cool, and exploring mobile robot concepts akin to Amazon's Astro. So the company, Apple, may eventually create a full-fledged humanoid robot competing with Tesla's Optimus or Figure's O1 and O2, although it faces huge challenges in AI development, particularly with those buggy Siri things that we just talked about. So Apple's decade-long experience in self-driving car technology could provide valuable insights for its robotic navigation within homes. Meta's robotic division is led by Mark Whitten, former CEO of GM's Cruise self-driving unit, while Apple's initiative is headed by Kevin Lynch, known for his work on Apple Watch. All right, last but not least, Adobe has launched public beta for its AI video generator, enhancing its creative tool sets. So Adobe has released its text and image to video AI generator, generate video to the public in beta form, marking a pretty significant step from the powerhouse that is Adobe. So this tool is part of Adobe's Firefly web app, which now includes updated image generation and translation capabilities, making it a comprehensive platform for creators. So Generate Video offers two main features. Here's the gist. Text to video and image to video, allowing users to create video content from text descriptions or by using reference images. So the video output quality has been improved to 1080p HD at 24 frames per second, though the maximum clip length is currently limited to just 5 seconds. So, bummer there. Adobe is working on both a faster and a lower resolution model, as well as a 4K model to enhance future capabilities. So it looks like they're kind of going this, small, medium, large, and it looks like what's available now is probably more of a medium tier. The Firefly web app now integrates with Creative Cloud apps such as Photoshop and Premiere Pro, streamlining the workflow for those users. Adobe emphasized that Firefly, this is the big thing, is trained on public domain and licensed content, ensuring its tools are safe for commercial use. And that will be a big talking point over the next couple of years, if I'm being honest, because both OpenAI and Google have been a little vague, and every other company, right? Runway, Luma, everyone else, they don't really talk about how their video models are trained. Presumably, they just scrape any video or photo it can find on the internet, presumably, right? But Adobe has really emphasized more of a safer approach, using tools that it has for commercial use. Although previous reports have said that up to, I believe it was 5% of what Adobe had trained previously for some of its visual models included images from Midjourney, which kind of makes the whole we have commercial use rights for this a moot point if you're using things from Midjourney. So the AI video market is becoming increasingly competitive, with Adobe facing challenges from companies like OpenAI, Google, ByteDance, Pika Labs. There's another handful or so from China over the last month that have really been impressive. So 2 additional tools called Scene to Image and Translate Audio and Video are also now available in public beta, offering new creative possibilities for users. So how much will it cost? Adobe has introduced 2 Firefly subscription plans, Firefly Standard at $9.99 a month and Firefly Pro at $29.99 per month, each offering various levels of credits and access to features. All right, that's it. Let's do the very quick rundown as a recap. Here is the AI news that matters for this week. Number 1. Elon Musk's bid to acquire OpenAI was rejected amid their ongoing feud. Number 2, Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot is set to release tonight, so we'll see how that goes. Number 3, we've seen some pretty sizable now delays, according to reports, for Apple's AI-powered Siri and Amazon's AI-powered Alexa. Number 4, Perplexity has unveiled its deep research tool. So make sure to join us tomorrow as we give a rundown on that. And then on Wednesday, as we compare the 3 major deep research tools. AI story number 5, YouTube. We finally now have a VO2 release, but just on YouTube Shorts. So very limited scope that you can use it. AI news story number 6, GPT-4o. We saw some under the hood updates from the GPT-4o model that shot it back up to tied for first in the LM chatbot arena leaderboard. Number 7, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman went to Twitter to talk about new GPT-5 updates and kind of how these models might just get married together. Number 8, finally seeing some movement from Anthropic's Claude, and they will reportedly be launching a new hybrid AI model in the coming weeks. Number 9, both Apple and Meta are reportedly going much deeper into the AI-powered humanoid robotics space. And last but not least, number 10, Adobe has launched a public beta for its AI video generator. All right, y'all, I hope that this was helpful. We spend a ton of time, not just on our show every single day, but on this show, the news that matters. There's literally hundreds of news stories every single week. I don't want you to be confused, right? I don't want you to be worried about, oh, well, what does this mean, right? That's what we do. So if you can only join us once a week, join us Mondays so you can keep up. I hope you join us every single day because I think that there is so much value in tuning in every single day. Yes, the show might not, be highly applicable to you every single day as we bring on guests across various fields, but there is so much to learn. So thank you for tuning in. If this was helpful, please click that repost button. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you as always. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. If you could leave us a rating, we'd super appreciate that. All right. So, and make sure while you're on our website, signing up for our free daily newsletter at youreverydayai.com. Make sure, if you haven't already, why the heck have you not listened to our 2025 AI predictions and roadmap series? It's free to listen to. They're short episodes, 25 minutes. So go give episodes 443 through 447 a listen. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.